Good afternoon and welcome to Managing Your Online Reputation. I'm Dante St James, be taking you through this afternoon's little thing about maintaining what people are saying about you online and being aware of what people are saying about you online. It's not about being obsessive or obsessed about all of that stuff. We just want to make sure that you're able to manage that process and know where people are saying things about you so you can even be more aware of what people are saying about you online, where they're saying it, and what you can do in response to be a good business that's responsive to online reviews and recommendations. Got a nice little quote here from Ernest Brummer, who was an English author very, very long time ago. A reputation for 1,000 years may depend upon the conduct of a single moment. And for online stuff, that was definitely not the I guess that one moment in time could very well be the way that you respond to a recommendation or a not recommendation on Facebook or a bad review. So your reputation is less about what other people say about you, and these days it's more about how you respond to that, because there's always someone who wants to say something bad about a business and not so many people who want to say something really nice about a business. Who this is for today is for small businesses that aren't in the position to pay someone to do their reputation management for them. There's a company called Media Monitors. It's all about big companies paying them to monitor what people are saying about them, whether that's in the media, whether that's on social media, or whether that's in things like reviews and recommendations on everything from TripAdvisor through to anything else. We've also got individuals and businesses that have some kind of public profile. If you're on this webinar or watching it on YouTube a little later after I've recorded this, then there's a very good chance that you're one of those people. You have a public profile on Facebook, for instance, or on Google, or on LinkedIn, or any of the other platforms that are online. And it can also be about those who have experienced bad reviews and really suffered because of them. They feel like they've lost sales because of them, or they've lost some kind of public confidence because of something bad that someone said about them. What we're going to cover is reputation management and why it's so important for small businesses. What about securing your properties, your brand, and your products to make sure that you're in control, at least, of some of that stuff that's said about you. And you can look at how content creation affects your reputation, using bad reviews as an instructional moment rather than getting all hoity about it, and keeping your cool when you need to. And we're going to look at investing in reputation management and how much it costs you in terms of time and money to be able to manage that kind of stuff. My name is Dante St James. I've worked with Facebook Australia in New Zealand in their community trainer department, which means I travel quite a lot around Australia training people on how to use the Facebook and Instagram products for better of business use. Also Google's Digital Springboard program, which is all about digital literacy. I'm an ASBAS Digital Solutions advisor in the Northern Territory, as well as a presenter, as you see on this one, and also work with Treaty Business Consulting as a business development manager and head of digital. Also own my own digital agency, Clickstarter. We've built over 3,000 websites since 1996, just 400 and something in the last 12 months, managed over 500 social media accounts, and created a heck of a lot of ads in the process. And I do like my certifications, and I'm currently studying a cybersecurity attainment. And one very interesting thing is that I used to be a psychiatric doctor. Isn't that weird? So own your business everywhere that you can. This is all about you making sure that you have control of what your business's front end is, whether that's on Facebook, whether that's on LinkedIn, whether that's on Google. Own your business name first of all, though. Through ASIC, their business names register. It's one thing having an ABN to be able to do some trading. It's another thing to be trading under a specific business name. What you probably notice is your ABN is linked to your name, not necessarily to a business name, unless you've registered that business name. So if you've got a great idea for a business name, you must register it first. That's your first piece of the pie that tells you that you're a legitimate business, and also lets other people know if they ever need to look you up, see if you're legitimate, a bit of lunch still stuck in my teeth, to make sure you are who you say you are. Then you've got to secure your domain name, which is your .com.au or your .com or your .net.au. At the very least, make sure you get one of those. I recommend, if you can, if it's available, get it in both .com and .com.au. Now, in the future, those kind of what they call top level domains are probably not going to be that much of an issue. For now, though, they really are. So if you've got a great brand name, look for that and make sure it's available. If it's not available, doesn't mean you have to choose another name. It just means you might have to get a bit more creative with what you do. Say, for instance, if your business is called Darko and you want to go, okay, it's Darko is already taken at .com.au, go darkoaustralia.com.au might be available, or Darko NT or Darko WA or Darko QLD if you want to be specifically located in one specific state. Also own your social media platforms. Even if you don't really want to use them for now, at least secure them. Make sure you've got a username on Facebook. Make sure you've got your Instagram name at least. So if you've got a business name, make sure it's instagram.com/your name and you've got that business account secured. LinkedIn. LinkedIn and YouTube at a minimum. Make sure you have at least presences on them, even if you haven't got those usernames for it. And also be considering being on some of the newer platforms and the video platforms like your TikToks, Pinterest, Twitter, Snapchat, those kind of things. Particularly when it comes to TikTok, it's such a fast growing platform. You want to make sure you get your username in there. Get it in Twitter as well, because you don't want to be opening up for people to have a fake profile pretending to be you and putting out the wrong message about you. That's certainly a very big start to a downfall with your reputation online, is if other people are able to secure your business names in those contexts. And I would say also, for the sake of you being, I guess, protecting your own name, is securing things for your own name. So have your personal profile on Facebook at the absolute least. I would say probably LinkedIn as well. You're a business person, so make sure you have your LinkedIn profile secured under your name. And then have a Google account with something as close to your name as possible on an email address like Gmail. So I've got Dante St James at gmail.com. Yours could be Matthew Farquhar at gmail.com, or something that's at least very close to it. It's to help you at least get that name before anyone who's maybe pretending to be you will go and get your name. Next, be consistently active on social media as your business, not just as you personally, posting photos of the kids and what adventures you've been on and the great food you've been eating. It's about also being quite active on social media as you. Now, you can do this very easily on Facebook simply by just recycling stuff you've done before, taking photos of things around your business. The important point here is to ensure that you've got something that's actually showing that you're alive, that you're happening, you've got something going on. Now, this is really important because when someone comes along and pretends to be your business or pretends to act as your business, they're going to possibly put in some kind of claim that you are a fake page and they're not. Now, I have had this happen to me on my personal profile back in around about, would have been about 2010, I reckon. It was pretty early in my Facebook game. So I'd say about 2010, someone claimed to be me. I couldn't prove that I was me fast enough for them to claim that I wasn't me, and I lost my account. That can happen with businesses too. For instance, if you start up your very, very inactive social media profile for your business, like a business page, someone else starts up one with the same name and they're more active than you, the algorithms in Facebook are going to pretty much assume that that one's the real one and your one isn't. So do make sure that if you're going to open a Facebook page, do something on it, even if it's just once a week or even once a month. Just do something that's fairly regular, just so that Facebook knows that it's legitimate. So get and keep momentum. Keep top of searches for your business name on social networks, because if you're active, the one that's getting the most activity and the most traffic through to it is generally the one that appears first. When I would say searching for your business name. So if you're searching for, say, one of my business names, Clickstarter, there's 3 Clickstarters in the world. There's one in Britain, there's one in, I think it's Denmark or the Netherlands, and there's one in Australia. The one that's most frequently updated is the one here in Australia. So that's the one that always appears worldwide at the top of the search on Facebook. Now, I wasn't the first person to call my business Clickstarter. There was the one in, I think it's Denmark. The Danish one was actually the first one up there. I was the second and the British one was the third. Now, the Danish one has done nothing for a long, long time. So what they've done is that they've slipped down those rankings. They've slipped down those searches, and I've gone up in the searches. It's been quite amazing that I'm now number one because I simply kept the momentum up, making sure I consistently post. It keeps your followers above others who may be trying to copy others. Even if you've got less followers on their page, you're more consistent and you're doing more stuff, you're going to be the one that shows up first. Also, if you see fake profiles that are pretending to be you, well, then all you do is report them. You go in there and report the pages. You report them as being a fake page, as trying to pretend to be you. And you can actually connect to yourself and say, I'm the one that they're trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? The one they're trying to, completely lost it, blanked out. I'm the one that they're trying to copy. I'm the one that they're faking. And do a search once every month to ensure that your page is the only page that's present on there for your particular business name. Doesn't mean that no one else in the world's going to have a similar business name as you. It just means that if it's yours and it's in your industry and in your country, that nobody's actually pretending to be you also within Australia. And work on making fans too. Work on delivering stuff to your followers that has some sort of interest to them, that's matched up to what they love, to what they want to receive, to the stuff that interests them about what you do. So just constantly putting out specials, deals, sell is going to get really old really fast with people. You build fans by looking at your insights and seeing what it is they want. Now, how does this protect your reputation on social media? Quite honestly, when followers become fans, they turn into people who will help you when others arrive. They will back you when the fakes happen. They will go and report those fake pages. You can mobilize people to report fake profiles for you. And when you've got 50 people all hitting that page and reporting it as fake, it's going to have a lot more sway than just you reporting it. So it always has some sort of strategic impact by making sure that you have your fans as more than just followers. Now, watch out for your brand names and your products online. And there's several ways you can do this. You can monitor your brands through scanning social media. So you just type in the name of your brand or the name of your business on social media, see what comes up. Do it about once a month. You can also search on places like eBay and Amazon. I've got a sore throat today, so just excuse me if I keep drinking from my cup. Search for eBay and Amazon as well, making sure that you're looking for anything that's trying to pretend to be you. eBay is really, really bad for this. If you've got a product that you're selling and someone's doing a knockoff product of that, they will do it under a similar name as soon as you become even vaguely successful. You can protect this by going to eBay and putting in a trademark or a copyright claim. Now, trademark and copyright is a whole different deal. And sort of middle of next month, we'll actually have a special guest, Gareth Benson, who's going to show us through how to protect your brand and protect your copyright and your trademark as a small business, and what the costs are involved with that, and how you can make sure you're legally protected from people doing all this kind of stuff to you. I would say, oh, excuse me, it's getting very hot in this room. I have to turn down the aircon. Do a monthly Google search. Make sure you do this every single month. I do it every day. I'm always searching for myself every day, at least once a day, making sure that I'm on top of what this is. So if you've got more than one name, for instance, you've got your business name, you might have certain brand names. If you don't want people to become confused about what they're finding online, then do that monthly Google search to ensure that people are able to find you when they're looking for you, not someone else. And that means monitoring the product names that you sell to. If you've got specific names for a particular scented candle, a particular essential oil, or a particular item of clothing, make sure that those special names you've given them are used pretty much just by you. Now, you cannot necessarily tell other people not to use those names, but what you do is just keep an eye on it and make sure there's no confusion when people go searching for that thing that you know you've worked so hard on getting that particular name out there. You want to make sure that when people look for it, that they actually find you and not your competitors or the people who are trying to do a nasty little knockoff of yours. Again, search eBay and Amazon, that's where you find them, and do that monthly Google search. And if all doesn't go according to plan, you can also consider a new name for that product. So if you're going to say your particular lipstick color is called Orange Bliss, and you found someone else has got a lipstick called Orange Bliss, it may not take much for you to rename that to something new, particularly if that other person is getting a lot of momentum and they've got a lot of people buying from them and they've got a big presence online. This is the same too when you're researching names for your products, names for your packages, names for your colors and your different styles, is to make sure that it's something that is either very common, such as small, large, black, coral, blue, or you've got special names that are very unique just to you. You may have to change those quite a lot when people start to use those names and confuse it with the things that you're already selling. That's what it all comes down to, is basically, if you're going to use special names for things, you got to make sure they're pretty unique so that when someone's searching for cerise flavored lollipops, adult lollipops, because they've got, chartreuse in them or something like that, that you want to make sure that if you're the only person selling those, that you're very easy to find and they're not finding other things that are kind of related to that. So just make sure the names are really memorable and making sure that they're very searchable. And when people are looking for your particular nasty chartreuse flavored lollipops, that they're finding your nasty chartreuse flavored lollipops. I couldn't have thought of a worse tasting alcoholic beverage for a lollipop there. It's absolutely horrific. And also protect your people. If you've got people working for you, whether they're contractors, family members, employees, make sure that your people have really clear profiles, and yourself too. Profiles online that are clearly theirs. Now, this could be a profile that's on your website that says who they are, or that they have their own profiles that are locked down and very clear that that's them. A funny thing happens when someone in your business becomes kind of very well known. It's that scammers and hackers will often try and replicate that person once they become well known, to pretend to be them, to get some of the authority or credibility that comes from being someone with that particular name. Now, movie stars, athletes, TV stars, music stars, they get this all the time. People trying to pretend to be them, trying to leverage off the fame that they've got. In your case, you may not be famous, but you may become very well known in your market. And that's when the danger zone happens. The people will start to have fake profiles come about you. I've got a fake profile that started up on Facebook about 2 years ago, pretending to be me. I was very easily able to shut that down because they were clearly fake, because I'd had a profile for 8 years and they'd had one for about 8 minutes. So it's very easy for me to prove that I was the official one and they were pretending to be me. Especially on LinkedIn, this is a particularly big problem because LinkedIn is considered to be quite a credible and authoritative place for who you are, about your job history, about the things that you've done, the things you've achieved. So what you need to do is make sure that you're the only one that comes up for your name that's actually you. Yes, you may have the same name as someone else in the world. That's quite common. When you get nearly 7 billion people on the planet, it's going to be a problem. So making sure that you've actually got the ability to be able to, when people are looking for you, that they find you, not 50 other people with the same name as you. There's a bit of a problem with privacy because you're kind of ripe for people to pretend to be you. It's very easy for a Russian or a Ukraine hacker or an Iranian hacker to be more active than you and get attention as you, despite the fact not being you. And that's just like simply by setting up bots that get activity, a series of bot profiles that are all giving activity to that particular profile. And as we saw before, if there's more activity constantly going on in a page or an account, it's a little harder for you to prove that you're the original one and they're not. You have to send through, paperwork, like passport photos and copies of your driver's license to Facebook to prove that you are who you say you are. Now, they won't be able to do it because they don't have those documents. And if you do it very quickly, you've got a much better chance of you showing that it's you. And be very clear and very open. This is where it comes to a bit of a mix between you wanting to be a private individual and then wanting to protect your business. The reality is, if you've got a business, you're going to be known as the owner of that business. Now, to be known as the owner of that business means there's got to be a little bit of transparency that comes about with you as the owner of the business. There's not really a lot of room for someone who's an owner of a business that's out there in the public eye to be very concerned about, oh, I don't want my name out there. I don't want my face out there. Your name and your face are associated with your business. So that whole thing of not wanting to be very anonymous kind of gets thrown away. You have to be a little bit known online. And that means that if you're the person running your website, your name should be probably on that website, just to say, I am the owner of this business. I am the manager. I am the managing director, whatever that is. And having a photo on there protects you, because it actually says if someone tries to approach me as a consumer and pretend to be someone else, who's like a contact of mine and knows, oh, I don't know that photo. That doesn't look like the person I know. Let me go and check against the official photo on the website. And they'll either say, oh, it's definitely not them. Now, sure, a hacker or a malicious person could use the photo from your website very, very easily. But if you've got a consistency of your photos and a consistency of who you are and what your contact details are across multiple places online, then it's much more likely to be able to get that credibility of someone going, oh yes, it definitely is him. It allows people to easily check against a very solid source, which is the right person. It's like the song says, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? In your case, will the real business owner and the owner of this photo and the person behind it please stand out on the internet, so that it's being a lot more private and a lot more hidden away on the internet is actually going to be a bad thing for you when it comes to people pretending to be who you are. The better a profile you have, the more likely you will be targeted, but the easier you're able to protect yourself from people who are trying to target you. I'd also say it's very, very, very important to do those checks, to listen and monitor for what's going on out there in terms of your name and your business. Take that monthly look. I can't say this enough, to make sure you do a search on Google for yourself, your business, the things you sell, and do the same on Facebook. Go in there, search for Facebook for who you are, what your business is called, and the products you sell. Now, for no other reason, if this is not just for protecting you from those who are trying to copy you, it's also keeping you on top of the competition. Because inevitably, especially in something like Google or Facebook, when you search for your business, you're going to find people who are perhaps advertising against the name of your business. If you are a pool company and you install pools in people's houses and you're called, let's just say, Justin's Pools, and you find that you go to Google and you type in Justin's Pools, and then an ad for Narellan Pools comes up. You go, well, they're advertising either against the word pools or they're advertising against the words Narellan Pools. They're trying to leverage off your good name and get the people who are searching for you to see their result in there. And that's a really interesting way for you to not just, you can't really protect against that. It's nothing wrong with doing that. You can do the same back to them. Where it kind of gets a bit weird is that you will look at that and go, well, that's a really good piece of competitive research that you can look at. If you see that they're advertising against you, go, I know that they're advertising against me. I know there's a good chance that when people look for me, they're also going to find them. So you've got a piece of extra information in your arsenal that says, okay, I'm not going to necessarily have to, I can't necessarily compete against them money-wise, but I'm at least aware of this. And I can maybe do the same thing back to them. When people in my area search for Narellan Pools, they're going to get an ad for Justin's Pools, just to show them that you can play that same game too. Now, there's a bunch of software that will do this as reputation management software, and it looks out for mentions on social media. It's very good at Twitter, not so good at Facebook, pretty good at LinkedIn, and it scans the web and all those apps to find mentions of your brand or your products or any keywords you want to put in there. Some of this software can run quite expensively, but there's a really cheap, in fact, free way you can do it through Google Alerts. So if you just Google Alerts, you'll actually get that service. And it's a free service that allows you to monitor certain phrases, certain words, certain brands, and it will send you an email each day, if you choose for it to be daily, to advise you of what's being said about that. Now, this is a great way for you to monitor primarily what people are saying about your business, and it'll come up. I've got one that's constantly searching for mentions of the name Click Starter and looking for mentions of my name, Dante St James, so I can see what's being said about me. I can see the different places that are advertising my events when I don't even know they're doing that. I can see what's being said about me, where it's being said, and the context within which it's being said. And it's really important for me to do that, because if I'm building myself as a personal brand, or if I'm building my brand up in some kind of way, I want to know that I can at least know what's going on with it. If someone says, oh, I saw you on this site, what are you doing on there? And I can then very quickly go, yes, indeed, what am I doing and listed on that site? And I can go and either request to have that removed or have Google hide that result if it's a really bad thing. Another way to make sure that you're listening is when you're in real life networking situations, BNI chapters, Chamber of Commerce meetings, business at sunset events, any of those kind of things. Really listen to how people are reacting to you when they're talking about your business. Not necessarily to your face, because people lie, people fake, but listen to conversations when you've met someone and you've said, yes, I am from, this is my business. And then you can kind of stay a bit nearby, and they may talk to the next person about your business. Oh, I just met Jason. He was just telling me he's from, Jason's Mechanics. And I love those guys. They're amazing, because they just did such a good job in my car when I really needed it. Or are they saying something that's more akin to, oh yeah, that Jason Mechanic is such a rip-off. Oh my God, I heard what happened to Brett the other day. He totally got screwed over by those guys. You don't want to be getting that kind of thing. And it gives you an opportunity to let them know that they can be very candid. If they got some feedback like that, excuse me, told you my sore throat, that if there is feedback like that, you can take it and nip it in the bud straight away and say, hey, just notice your friend Brett had a problem with this. Look, I'm not going to confront about it. I just want to go, I want to be able to help fix that problem. Do you know what happened? And you can get a bit more detail on that, and you can follow up on that client that had a bad. This is a way of really using networking and situations where people come together to your advantage as a business. So it's not just monitoring what's online, it's also seeing what's going on out there in the real world. Customers won't always come to you and tell them when you've got a problem. Some people are very, very non-confrontational. With some people, they'll come straight at you in a networking meeting and say, oh yeah, I've heard about you guys. Oh, you guys do really shoddy jobs. So you want those people as well. Don't necessarily want to take offense to everything they say, because some people are just out to get a rise out of you. What's more important though is to you be listening. Make sure you're taking that feedback into you and going, that's something I do need to watch for, because if they're talking about it, there's a very good chance that someone else is going to be talking about it as well. And then we come to the big kahuna, handling bad reviews and complaints. This is a whole other chapter on its own. You could actually run an entire webinar just about handling reviews and complaints. When you've got a review, read it thoroughly. Read it once, then walk away, especially if it's a bad one, and then come back and read it again. Do not respond straight away, because you're going to be responding from an angry place, from an adrenaline-driven place. You're going to be responding from a place that isn't the best one to be doing customer service stuff. You really want to get someone else to read it as well. So someone else's second pair of eyes can look at something in that you can't see. They'll be able to see, oh yeah, okay, I can see that. Yep, okay. Yeah, so what they're trying to say is blah. You may have missed that because you got your angry glasses on. Your angry glasses saying, I'm going to get really back at this person. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. You don't want that, obviously. You want to be able to take the feedback on board, whether it's fair or not, understand that there is a perception that's coming from the customer, and you need to acknowledge that. And you do that through carefully crafting a reply. You always need to respond. You don't have to respond straight away, but you do have to respond. Within 24 hours is a pretty good guide, but always respond sensibly and out of care for your business. You don't do it out of personal vendettas, or you don't do it out of being personally offended. The worst thing you could possibly write is, oh, I find that so offensive that you would say that to me. How dare you make that personal attack? The second you make it personal, you're buying into that person's drama. So always respond, write a response, and then just wait a sec. Before you've written that response, don't send it straight away. Edit it. Just give it a bit of an edit job just to make sure that what you're saying is what you really want to be saying. So you're not stuck in this place where you've said something really, really, really acerbic or really full of acid and vitriol. You've said something that actually is very factual. And I've got a certain formula I work with that, which is always about acknowledge what they've just written. Hi there. First of all, apologize. I'm sorry that you had this experience. Don't go into it deeply. Just say, I'm sorry you had that experience. You're not saying sorry for the experience. You're saying sorry that they had the experience. Then the second thing you say is, from what I understand, this happened, ... And you've got a list of the things that happened. And then you'll go into something which is such as saying, it is my understanding that this happened, ... If you've asked a staff member. If this is not true, I'd like to be able to discuss this further. If I can be of any assistance, please reach out to me at this email address or this phone number, because we obviously don't want things like this to go unanswered, and we don't want problems to be unresolved. That way it keeps it really, really not personal and keeps it really, really factual. Just the facts, take away the emotion. Your whole thing is to make sure that you're responding out of care for your business. You don't do care for your business by entering into an argument, because the only person that's going to look bad in the argument is going to be you, the business owner. You want to clarify and calm, because no one wins an argument. Aim to clarify exactly in steps what happened, and then respond with the apology and just the facts. If you can possibly do it, don't turn it into some kind of flame war that's in the reviews and the recommendations. You want to move the conversation offline if it is at all possible to do that. And it usually is. So when it comes to reviews and recommendations, let's look at a few case studies and examples, or if you've got some, I'd love to hear about them. But I'll give you an example of a particular place that I've been working with in Darwin, which was a hair removal clinic that did a lot of things like massages, IPL hair removal treatments, a lot of facial treatments, that kind of thing. Their problem was that they had a very, let's just say, a very reactive person who was part of their business. And that person took a lot of personal offense when someone didn't get the service they quite expected to get. So they would quite often start off and go, you know, I'm absolutely horrified that you would have this experience, and then not talk to us about it, and then put it on online forum like this. Do you realize what this does to a small business? It makes us lose money. And they went into a full personal counterattack. They went on the defense. Now, all that it's going to do is amp up the person on the other end to amp it up again. So they were like, I can't believe that you, a business owner, would respond like this, and you can't take feedback. All I'm doing is letting you know that something didn't go right, and now you're attacking me personally. It became a really nasty war of words. Finally, when I stepped in with this particular business, I said, what you need to do here is you need to take it back down again. This is like getting built up to be a thermonuclear international ballistic missile war. What you need to do, you need to be the bigger person in this and bring it down. So the first thing you have to do is actually admit that you overreacted and say, look, I'm sorry, I overreacted here. I put a lot of time and effort in my business, and it feels horrible when someone doesn't have the right kind of experience. I'd love to talk to you about it now with cooler heads prevailing. And I'd really like to give you a free sample of blah, or a free service of yeah. Can you please email me at this email address, and we'll sort it all out as adults. That immediately diffused the situation, and it meant that instead of defending against a great big flame war and a great big battle of words, it became about two people coming together to resolve a problem. That person, who I know, is now a regular customer of that particular salon and clinic, because that whole amping up got pulled down. They put a bit of cold water on it to calm it down, and then they talked as adults, but they had to take it offline. When it was someone attacking someone online and then attacking back online, it's all online, it's all in the public image. people are looking to save face. If you take it offline and into an email address or into a phone call, it takes the fire out of it because no one's putting on a performance for anyone else anymore. They're just quite simply being a human talking to another human. Quite often when we get onto online reviews and online recommendations and non-recommendations, we've got this issue where people are trying to amp each other up, have a rise because they don't feel like they're talking to an actual person. They think they're talking to maybe a big business that doesn't really care. They're used to dealing with the Telstras and the Foxtels and the power companies of the world who don't care and don't respond well. So they think that this business is going to be just like that as well. So that they need to teach them a lesson, and you come back and start attacking them. They're like, yep, they took the bait, hook, line, and sinker, they're caught. So what you need to do is just pour some cold water on that. Like we did in that case, we said, look, yes, I did overreact. It's amazing what an admission of not fault, but an admission of a personal response will do to bring someone out of the firing line to being a very calm, very rational, and easy to work with human being again. So it really just comes down to making sure that you are ensuring that they know that you're accepting that you didn't respond very well and that you're going to do better about it. It does make a difference. We're not used to seeing that level of humility. We're used to seeing Donald Trump kind of stuff where he will never admit that he was ever at fault or ever wrong. He's just going to keep saying that he's done this, I'm right, because he doesn't want to, he thinks that saying that, oh yeah, I kind of messed that up is an admission of weakness. When in reality, as a business owner, it's an admission that you're willing to put the customer first, even if you're still going to get your outcome that you want from it, which is maybe not giving a refund or getting them to remove a bad review, you're still going to have some kind of skin in the game there. Whereas if you just continue piling on the hate, piling on the anger, piling on the arguments, it's not going to look good for anyone. And the person who initiated the whole response is not the person who's going to look bad. It's going to be you. It's really hard to understand that sometimes. So this has probably been one of the shorter webinars we're going to do because a lot of it's a lot of common sense. So if you've got a question, I'd like you to put it into the chat window right now. If you've got a particular case you want to talk about or something which you think is perhaps a thing that you've come across before that wasn't particularly great, or if you've had a situation that you think might come up, I'd love to hear about it. If not, if you're watching this on YouTube after I've recorded it, please put your question in the comments below and I'll be able to come back on and monitor that and be able to have a chat with you about that in the comments. In the meantime though, this is my email address. If you've got a question or something you'd like to put across, it's dante@treaty.com.au. I love getting some feedback on these kinds of things. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. This is usually a full hour of presentation. We've got away with it in about 40 minutes. So thank you so much for being in this particular presentation this afternoon. I really hope you got some value out of this. And again, if you do want to ask some questions, that email address that's on screen right now is where to send those through, and I can give you some information or advice. Don't forget, you've also got access to the ASBAS Digital Solutions Advisory one-to-one meetings. I'm available on there through Treaty ASBAS when you're looking for any sort of digital stuff. If you can't find me, just drop me an email to that email address and I'll guide you through how you can book me or anyone else that's on the ASBAS program. We'd love to have you as part of it, and it costs you $44, including GST, for your first session, and $66 for any subsequent sessions after that. And you've got a total contact time of 24 hours over the program, which is got about another 7 months to go. So hurry up and get your value for money with this, because once it's gone, it's gone. We want to make sure that you get the best value out of this you possibly can. Get your business friends in as well and let them know they can get really good, solid advice and help for a bargain basement price from really good, knowledgeable people. Thank you again. Have a fantastic afternoon, and I'll see you in our next webinar, which I believe I've got another one tomorrow. We're on a completely different topic, but I'll see you then. Thank you.